Thanos is coming.
Thanos is an all-time great Marvel villain, right?
We need to stop Thanos.
He's just so menacing, so threatening, so purple that you just can't help but both be in awe of him and also a little terrified.
All that for a drop of blood.
And while everyone mostly knows the big bad main version of Thanos, did you know there are a ton of alternate versions out there?
Crazy.
And out of all the Thanoses, I'll figure it out. Out of all the different versions of Thanos, which is the strongest? Well, let's find out right now.
Thanks, Dad. Sounds fair.
Okay, right off the bat, Astral Regulator Thanos automatically sounds like the nerdiest version of Thanos on this list. With a name like Astral Regulator Thanos, the other Thanoses probably like to dunk this version in a trash can and steal his lunch money.
No, because it's random.
But to do so would be at their own peril, because this alternate of the Mad Titan might be the strongest of them all. So the one above all created an Astral Regulator for each universe, and usually no one can reach it without immediately perishing. Well, through a loophole, Thanos was able to break through and steal this artifact, which gave him unimaginable power. With his newfound strength, he absorbed the power of all the cosmic beings and the Living Tribunal, among others, which gave him a complete makeover. Like, on top of being jaw-droppingly powerful, he had this cool cosmic redesign to him, and it also made him massive in size. Like OG Thanos standing next to Astral Regulator Thanos looks like a shrimp. Maybe Astral Regulator Thanos isn't someone you should try to shove in a trash can, at least if you don't want to be obliterated, that is. So the Thanos from the US Avengers comic series may not be as decked out as some of the others on this list, but the Thanos of this universe did manage to deliver a devastating blow to the universe. Set on Earth 15061, this Thanos was able to conquer the world by getting his hands on a pair of ISO gauntlets that housed tiny cosmic cubes. Once he acquired them, he slaughtered half of Earth's heroes just to send a message, and it was dubbed Zero Day. I'm putting this Thanos so high on this list because it's kind of scary how easily he accomplished his goal, and just how dangerous any version of Thanos can be. It also serves as a stark reminder to our main universe and any other universe that a win against Thanos isn't always guaranteed. Like, sure, in this universe, Thanos was eventually beaten after the Avengers Initiative was formed, but at what cost?
How do you know that?
Sure, time travel can undo a lot of things, but Thanos was still able to wipe out all of us pretty easily. But what I do like is that it inspired a whole new wave of heroes, showing that even in our darkest hour, humanity will always fight back. Man, if I had $1 for every time a different universe Thanos acquired a game-changing artifact that granted him unimaginable power, I'd probably have enough to go on quite the spending spree at the dollar store. So, much like the Astral Regulator, the heart of the universe is another whatchamacallit that is the source of all types of power and yada yada yada. It's something that should never fall into enemy hands. It's why the version of Thanos that used the heart of the universe was so dangerous. I don't want to rehash everything I just said about the Astral Regulator, but just know that the heart of the universe is super similar. This whole story arc actually includes the ancient Egyptian pharaoh, Akhenaten, who is using his resurrected abilities to cause serious chaos. I wonder if they can tie in characters like Akhenaten into the MCU someday. That would be truly wild, right? So Omega is not a version of Thanos from a different universe, but rather he's a clone of regular Thanos.
I'm pretty sure it's efficient.
You see, the Mad Titan liked to clone himself, which is just a baffling idea to me. Like, he's so egotistical that what does he expect from clones? That they would all just fall in line? They're clones of Thanos. Of course they wouldn't do that. Anyways, clearly the most powerful clone is Omega, which basically combines Thanos with Galactus and makes one terrifying threat to everything. Sure, Omega wasn't necessarily the smartest clone around, but he could still feed off of planets, which immediately sets him above the others in terms of power rankings. He even has a design like Thanos and Galactus had a baby, which is kind of fun. But a threat like this obviously can't go left unchecked, and eventually the OG Thanos blew up Omega in a massive explosion. If you could clone yourself with the genes of any Marvel character, who would you choose? So some say there's a lot of instances where Marvel and DC have ripped off each other, which is true to an extent, especially when it comes to characters. I love it when one company makes a character and the other company decides to make the exact same type of character. That's what seemed to have happened with Thanos and Darkseid.
Have you finished the conquest?
But did you know Darkseid came first? That's right, Darkseid premiered in 1971 while Thanos made his debut in 1973. Who do you think is the stronger, more popular character? Well, the good news is you don't have to decide, because Marvel and DC worked together to create an amalgamation of Darkseid and Thanos named Thanoseid. All the powers, double the ruthlessness, and all around terrifying in general. I'm glad this wasn't a permanent thing in the comics because I believe Thanoseid could conquer the galaxy no problem. Do you think Darkseid was mad that his name didn't come first? But to be fair, Thanoseid rolls off the tongue much easier than Darknos or whatever. The Ultimate Universe is one of the most famous alternate Earths, and it's one we've spent quite a bit of time on. It's probably most famous for giving us Miles Morales before a gigantic universe merge put Miles in our universe, but there are a ton of great versions of our favorite characters. Because this is a Thanos-centric list, I'm of course going to talk about the ultimate version of Thanos. Now, this is interesting because while I just mentioned Thanoseid, it should be noted that the Ultimate Universe version of Thanos is actually very similar to the Lord of Apocalypse. He rules over an entire empire known as the Endless Resurgence on basically his own planet and is dedicated to obtaining the Cosmic Cube in order to expand his empire across the entire universe. He's older, stronger, and just all around more evil than his normal counterpart. Man, how interesting would it be if the MCU introduced the ultimate version of Thanos to the universe? Then our heroes would have to fight the same villain but with a fun new twist. I love versions of characters who get everything they want. Like, in most stories, you can never see the bad guy ultimately win out because then the world would end or something, but thanks to time travel in multiple universes, Marvel Comics have been able to show a wide range of different baddies actually succeeding in their goals without breaking normal continuity. With all that in mind, I present King Thanos. This is a version of the character who rules over a dystopian future timeline who got literally everything he wanted. He wiped out almost every living being in the universe, and basically just gets to sit and rule over the ashes. Yay, I guess? I mean, really, what's the point? Where's the fun if you're just content to rule over nothing but destruction? At least he wasn't all alone. He had next to him his trusty servant, Cosmic Ghost Rider, who I guess would be a fun friend to have. You think they had game nights? I bet they had game nights. If you meet a version of Thanos, chances are he's going to want to take over everything. It's just in his nature. So that leads me to the poisoned version of Thanos. So the Poison Hive is a parasitic alien race from Earth 17952, and they were a big factor and villain in the Venomverse storyline in the comics. They're basically a big enemy to the symbiotes, and they infect people and make them evil. But the interesting thing is that the Poison's leader is actually a poisoned version of Thanos, who willingly let himself be infected in order to enact his evil plan for the entire multiverse. Poisoned Thanos is basically a combination of Venom and Thanos, which is a monstrously powerful combo. No wonder the Poisons were so close to taking over everything. Now, I'm just thinking about having Thanos with his own Tom Hardy Venom growl in his head. That would be fun, right?
Do not open that door.
Alright, I think the MCU version of Thanos deserves a special shout out here. I think any one of the Thanoses that successfully completed their goal of some type of universe domination belongs on this list. But what I like about the MCU Thanos is how much the Infinity War film was not only through Thanos' perspective, but also how it made him somewhat understandable. Sure, I don't mean he was that relatable, but at least you could sort of see things from his perspective. It's why the bad guys in Falcon and the Winter Soldier were bad in the first place, and it's why people are spraying graffiti saying Thanos was right in New York restrooms. I just think Thanos is much scarier when he's being somewhat logical. But besides that, you really got a sense of MCU Thanos' brutal determination in Infinity War. Yes, he could beat up the Hulk with his bare hands, but I think his big moment came when he sacrificed Gamora. The movie didn't have Thanos as some uncaring monster who was willing to sacrifice his daughter, but rather it showed how dedicated Thanos was to his mission by sacrificing the only thing he loved in life. Now that's scary. So I've been talking all this time about Thanoses that are evil and how that gives them their immense power, but what if there were a few versions of Thanos that were able to funnel their strength and abilities into being a good guy? What do you have then? Well, you have a character who's capable of protecting the entire world. Next up on this list is Avengers Thanos, which is a version of the character who was the leader of Earth's mightiest heroes. What gives, right? This shouldn't be a thing. Well, it sort of wasn't. Although this version of Thanos was beloved and a true hero, it turns out it was all basically a lie. It was an alternate reality created by the three sisters of eternity who gave Thanos a chance at contentment with his life over his power. And once Thanos found out this reality was fake, instead of choosing to stick with the new status as a hero, he bashed Sam Wilson's head in like a water balloon. So not all universes in the multiverse are particularly pleasant. Like, remember in Multiverse of Madness how Earth 838 had beautiful flowers and pizza balls as far as the eye could see? Well, yeah, that's an anomaly. There's some really scary ones like the Cancerverse, which if you couldn't guess is just horrible. It's a universe filled with a monstrous undead army thanks to horrible gods infecting and corrupting the living. Thanos there is just another mindless, soulless, disgusting husk of a creation in this universe. I'm putting him near the bottom because he's not in control of his actions like the poisoned Thanos, but he's still a big threat and overall just a little hard to look at. So the previous hero version of Thanos on this list didn't quite work out, and now Sam Wilson will never be able to wear a hat again. But that's not saying there isn't a good version of Thanos out there who's a hero, right? What about Captain America Thanos? He has to be a good guy, right? Oh, well, nope, I guess not. In a what-if comic, the Avengers teamed up with Thanos to stop evil aliens, like they normally do. And during the mission, Thanos eliminates Captain America, but then tells all the other heroes that Cap died in battle, leaving the mantle of Captain America open, and Thanos steps up to take it, which is just baffling. But despite the little hiccup of killing the previous Captain America, this Thanos was able to gain the trust of the team and eventually became the leader of the Avengers. How crazy is that? Thanos in the Captain America suit just seems creepy. So these were all the strongest versions of Thanos, but what about the weakest? Who do you think is the weakest Thanos we've ever seen? The Thanos that was split apart by Ultron Vision? The Thanos that was beaten by the Illuminati of Earth 838? The Thanos that was talked out of his plan by Black Panther and What If? Let me know in the comments below.